Hi there, this is Ranjit, and in this video we're going to do the in-depth review for the Samsung Galaxy Note 3, and this is going to be a big in-depth review, and this review is based upon my usage of my Note 3. I'm using the Note 3 as my primary Android phone now for over a month, to be precise around 35 days, and my review will be based on that. So it's going to be a big video around 25 minutes or so, because the Note 3 has so many features that I simply couldn't cram them up in a 10 or 12 minute video. So it's going to be a big video, so take that coffee or a cold beverage and get ready for it. Apart from this video, I've also made about 8 or 9 other videos on the Note 3 and covering some of their other aspects like the gaming S Pen features. So you can check out those videos also. The link for those will be in the show notes. So let's get on with the in-depth review for this Samsung Galaxy Note 3. So this is the Samsung Galaxy Note 3, and before I proceed, I just want to make one thing clear, is that the Samsung Galaxy Note 3 comes in two variants. One runs on the Snapdragon 800 chipset and one runs on the Samsung's Exynos processor, and the one we have right now is the Samsung Exynos based one, and my review will be based on that. And first let me talk about the design aspect of this Samsung Galaxy Note 3. If you have used the Note 2 or earlier versions of Galaxy phones, now you'll notice that the phone is more rectangular to look, and it actually looks a lot more stylish. The phone looks a lot rectangular, and I would say it looks a lot more professional compared to the earlier variants. For example, the Note 2 was a little bit more rounded. And as you can see, we also have a LED notification light, and it's a multicolored LED notification light. And let me move towards the back, and here we see a major departure. And if you notice, this texture is kind of leather, but it's not genuine leather, it's faux leather, that's fake leather. And it's actually a plastic still, but you get that feel of leather, and I would say it provides decent amount of grip on the Note 3. One thing I did notice is that the black version provides a lot more grip than the white version. And at the center we have this 13 megapixel camera with LED flash. We have the Samsung logo. Again, this new back cover gives a very elegant feel to this Note 3. We also have the S Pen at the bottom, and this back cover can be opened, and it easily opens up like this. And here we have the massive battery. That's a 3200 milliampere battery. You can add your micro SIM and also a micro SD card up to 64 GB on this Note 3. And if you also notice, we have some pins over here, and by default we do not get any induction charging, but Samsung has told that there'll be accessories for induction charging, but sadly for that you might need to buy a new back cover. So these pins are for that. The battery, as I told you, is a 3200 milliampere battery, and the battery life that I got on this Note 3 was excellent. It can easily last you for a full one working day, even with heavy use, and for most people with normal usage, you can easily extend it up to 2 days. So the battery life is excellent on this Note 3. We also do get the S Pen over here. It's at the bottom. I'll talk about the S Pen a bit later, but the unique thing about the new S Pen is that now it can go either way, this way or that. One thing that I don't like about the S Pen is that even after 30 days of usage now, the S Pen is a little bit difficult to take out. It's a bit hard. Now coming to the screen on this Note 3, Samsung has bumped up. The earlier Note 2 had a 5.5 inch screen, but now we have a 5.7 inch screen, and the resolution has also been bumped up. This one is a 1080p screen. So everything, I have no issues with the screen. It's a gorgeous screen. It's a very sharp screen. For example, as you can see, I'm zooming in, and again, as you can see, the text is very crisp. So the display panel on this Note 3 is very good. And one more thing that I noticed is that the display panel is actually pretty bright. I'm at 0 brightness setting. Then also just notice how bright the screen is. We do have all these toggles like this, and we also do get all the functionality that we got with the Samsung Galaxy S4, like the air view, air gestures, and actually this Note 3 has a lot more because of the S Pen features. So don't worry, you do get all the features. On the front, again, we have this huge 5.7 inch screen, and again, I'm happy to say that though the screen size has been improved, the phone is comfortable to hold in one hand. It's not like it's drastically bigger. In fact, I would say in the width department, it's slightly narrower than the Note 2, so it's actually comfortable. But in the height department, Samsung has increased it a little bit. So if you are used to phones like Note 2, you'll be very comfortable with the Note 3. But again, if you are used to small phones, by no stretch, this is a small phone. It's a big phone, and for example, you simply cannot reach all parts of the screen just like this. You need to stretch a little bit. And for texting, I would say you need to use both the hands. Simply, you can't do easy texting with just single hand. Samsung has provided one-hand operations, software tweaks, but to effectively use the phone for just calling, etc., you can use it with single hand. But for many of the operations, for example, it has the S Pen, you need to use both the hands. And before we proceed further, let me give you a quick physical overview of this Note 3. On the top, we have this 3.5mm headphone jack. We have a secondary microphone for noise cancellation. This is the IR blaster. We have an application called Watch On, by which you can control televisions, DVR, etc. I'll talk about it a bit later. And also, if you notice, along the edge, we have this design on this Note 3. Let me just zoom back. And on this end, we have the power button. Again, that design. And we also have one more mic over here that is extra. And we have the S Pen. And this is the speaker. The speaker position has been changed and it's now here. And if you notice, the charging port is a little bit big, and this is a micro USB 3 port, and Note 3 is the first smartphone in the world to have micro USB 3 support. And using the new micro USB 3 port, you can get data transfer up to 2x faster, and also it charges faster. This is the new micro USB 3 port supplied with the Note. But again, don't worry, you can use your old micro USB cables that are USB 2 and they work perfectly. Moving towards this side, we just have the volume rocker. And on the front, things haven't changed much. We have a 2 megapixel front facing camera. We have all the sensors, the auto brightness sensor, the IR sensor, etc. And this is the earpiece, and I'm happy to say that the voice call quality that I got with this Note 3 was excellent. I've been testing this phone for over a month, and everybody said that my voice was very clear. So no issues regarding that. And we also have a multicolored LED notification light over here. So if you get a missed call, SMS, etc., it glows here, and that can be configured. Moving towards the bottom, we have the standard Samsung fare. This is the home button. And on left and right, we have two touch type capacitive buttons. This is for the menu and this is for the back. So nothing has changed over here. It's the same thing. One thing I just want to highlight is that the black color actually looks actually a lot more elegant on the Note 3. And if you notice, you do get that brushed metal feel. It's not jet black. So actually it looks very elegant. And coming to the screen, again, as I told you, it's a 1080p Super AMOLED screen and the viewing angles are excellent. Just notice that I'm tilting the phone to extreme angles, and then also the image hardly fades. Also, if you keep the brightness to auto setting like this, outdoors in direct sunlight also, it does a decent job. It runs this Samsung TouchWiz, and I'm happy to say that I thought that the phone might be a little bit sluggish because we know that Samsung TouchWiz can be a little bit buggy, and this phone has a lot more functionality, the added layer of S Pen features, etc. So I was a bit worried that the phone might be a bit sluggish, but I'm happy to say that this phone does not exhibit any lag whatsoever. In my testing for over 30 days, the phone has been lag free. So I'm happy to say that this, after a long time, I've seen a Samsung phone running TouchWiz that is lag free. So in terms of general performance, the phone is very responsive, and the hardware also is top notch on this. The one we have is the Exynos version that has an octa-core processor, and it also has the Mali 628 GPU. I'll talk about that GPU a bit later. I'm not that happy with that GPU. In general performance, it's very good. But in gaming, it has some issues. I'll talk about it a bit later. Also, in terms of RAM, this Note 3 is the first Android phone in the world to have 3 gigs of RAM. Hence, in my testing, I never had to kill any apps. As you can see, I'm running a lot of apps and I hardly close any apps. And if I switch also to any other app, for example, let's switch to this browser, you don't face any lag whatsoever. So the phone is actually very responsive. So in terms of responsiveness, I have no problems with this Note 3. Now coming to internal storage, here Samsung did a good job, and the minimum default internal storage that you get is 32 GB. And let me show you the same. You can also add a micro SD card to this one. but I did not do that. And let me show you the storage tab. And I've installed a ton of apps because I'm using this phone as my personal phone. And out of the 32 GB, I have that 9.46 GB available. So out of the 32 GB, when you just take out the phone, you get almost 26 GB or so of space available to you. And you can also add a micro SD card up to 64 GB. So in terms of storage, you shouldn't have a problem with this Note 3. And I would say it's a high time other manufacturers also pay attention. And for high-end devices, the minimum internal storage should be 32 GB like we get on this Note 3. Also, again, as you know, it runs the TouchWiz, so you do get a lot of options here. And you also have the S Pen features. I've actually made a dedicated video regarding the S Pen, and you can just take out the S Pen like this, and immediately when you do that, you do get these air commands, and it provides a lot of functionality. I won't go over all these features in this video because I've already made a video regarding the S Pen that's about 7 to 8 minutes long. So if you're interested in the S Pen features, make sure that you check out that video. The link will be in the show notes. Now, we were talking about the customization, and here also, as you can see, this Samsung has provided us a lot of options. For example, we do have these motion options. For example, if you directly pick up the phone, you get the direct call. We have seen these from the S4 and S3, and they do come over to the Note 3. So you do have all those options, and we also have the smart screen, and we can also increase the touch sensitivity. For example, if you use the device in colder countries where you wear gloves, if you enable this function, then you can use this device even when you have the gloves on. So that's a unique feature. And as I said, we also have this one-hand operations. And one more good thing about this Note 3 is that Samsung has provided a lot of help for everything. For example, using one screen, as you can see, apps become smaller so that you can use it easily with a single hand. And this air view and air gestures don't work with every application, but they work with, for example, as you can see, this is my gallery, and I'm not clicking anywhere. If I just hover my finger, it shows you the content, and this works in videos, etc. So this is actually pretty interesting, I would say. As you can see, this gives you the preview of the image. I don't have to click it. So it's great for just scrolling around and to figure out what's there in this. So that works, and we have seen this feature from S4, and it works perfectly on this Note 3 also. One more place where this Note 3 excels is in multitasking. What's the use of having such a big screen if you can't do multitasking? And Samsung has taken care of that also. If you just hold this back button for a while, you get this multitasking tray. And let me take out the S Pen. They have improved the multitasking a lot. And for example, we do have this multi-window option. Let's open some application. For example, let's open the maps. Let's bring it out here. Let's also bring the internet application over here. We can do the standard thing that you could do earlier, like resizing it up and down. This was there. And now you can also have two of the same applications at the same time. For example, you can chat with two different people at the same time. But apart from that, let's say I'm looking at some maps and browsing the web. Now I need to do some quick calculation, and I take out my S Pen, and I can just use this pen window feature, and I draw a small window like this, and here I can open these small apps. For example, let me open the calculator. Now I can quickly do some calculations over here, and I'm running 3 applications at the same time. For example, I can scroll in the background, work with my map, and do my calculation. Let's say, let me just minimize this now. We do also get this option, and as you can see, the application hasn't been closed, but it's kind of minimized. And let's say if I just go to some other web page, and again I need to calculate some stuff, I can just open this back. So Samsung has taken the multitasking to next level on this Note 3 with these features. So I would say it does multitasking without any issues. And the added bonus is that as this Note 3 has that huge 3 GB of RAM, even while running apps like this and doing heavy multitasking, I never faced an issue of lagginess on this Note 3. Now moving to some unique features that this Note 3 has. It's a Samsung phone, so they do customize it a lot. And for example, we have an option. For example, I won't touch the phone, and you can just wake the phone by having a keyword. For example, the keyword is "Hi Galaxy, what's the time like?" And as you can see, I didn't touch the phone.
Here is the answer to your question.
And again, as you can see, the S voice again is a little bit patchy. I prefer, what do you say, Google Now compared to S voice. But again, we have this functionality that we saw in the Moto X. If your phone is just lying there in your car, you don't even have to touch it, and if you just say hi Galaxy, it wakes up. So that is one feature that Samsung has added. I don't know how practical it will be, but it's there. And Samsung also added this option called My Magazines. For example, if you are on the home page like this, and if you just swipe from bottom, you get to this My Magazine. This is nothing special, I would say. It's not that great and not that much customizable, but it's kind of like Flipboard, and it's there. One fact I do not like is that you simply cannot disable this gesture. When you are on the home page, and if you just do this, this will always launch this. There's no way currently to disable it. And I would suggest that Samsung in future updates does provide the option to disable this or change it to Google Now. I prefer Google Now, but for Google Now I have to use this or press the home page like this and press this G button. So these are some of the new features that we find on the Note 3. Again, it's up to you how practical they are. For example, you can just open the phone by just saying hi Galaxy, and as you can see, it works. And as we're connected to the internet, let me just fire up the web browser now. And this is the web browser, and by default it opened our website, that is the tech2buzz.com. And as you can see, it's very responsive. Again, you might have expected that there's no lag or anything like that. This is a full web page, not a mobile version. And then also it loads it very smoothly, no issues in pinch to zoom. Let's open up one of these stories. We have a YouTube video embedded, so let's see how well it plays that back. And this is the video. This is the smartphone guide that I made. So let's play back that video. One thing I noticed is that in this orientation, you hold the phone like this, and there's a good tendency that you might just block the speakers. And happy Diwali to all of you. And I have made that, and I had so many phones that I had to write it on the paper. And I won't be talking about Chinese. So as you can see, video playback is also smooth and can play YouTube videos embedded within the web pages without any issues. And I would say I did a lot of web browsing on this one, and it works perfectly. Also we also have the Chrome browser pre-installed, so you can also use that. But I found that the Firefox browser works pretty well on this Note 3. And now coming to media playback, also I had no problems. I could play videos up to 1080p without any issues. There was no lagginess or anything like that. Another good thing is that this Note 3 has full support for USB OTG. For example, you can just buy a USB OTG cable like this and attach pen drives. I even tried it with PS3 controller, and that also worked. So in terms of media connectivity and USB OTG support, you are covered. And as you can see, I'm reading this file from the USB OTG. We also have this My File application pre-installed. It's kind of like a file manager, so that comes by default, but you can also use third-party apps. For example, I like Astro, so we'll use that. Here's the Astro file manager, and as you can see, we have this USB thumb drive that we have attached, and this is the USB thumb drive, and I'm going to play for example this video. That's a 1080p video from this. We'll use the default video player. It's pretty good. I also installed MX player, and as you can see, this is a 1080p video clip, and it plays without any issues on this Note 3. And we do have this air gestures over here also, and we do have other options. For example, you can minimize this like this. We have seen this with the Galaxy S3, S4, so that's there, and that also works perfectly, so no issues. And I tried it with a lot of video, so in terms of video playback, you won't have a problem. Another advantage is that it has full USB OTG support. Now coming to the camera, the rear facing camera on this Note 3 is a 13 megapixel shooter, and I would say the camera performance is actually very good. I won't get into details because I have made a separate video regarding the camera performance of this Note 3, but overall it's very good, and we do get the standard features like tap to focus and it focuses actually very quickly, as you can see, and it takes the snaps also very quickly. One thing many of the reviewers haven't mentioned is that we do get the slow motion options on this Note 3 also, like the iPhone, for example. If you go here, and we do have this slow motion option, and we can set it to 1/8, 1/4 or half. But one thing I did notice is that if you take slow motion videos, they only shoot at up to maximum of 720p. But for regular videos, you can go all the way up to 1080p. In this variant, that is the Exynos version. But if you have the international Snapdragon version, you can even record videos up to 4K. That's incredible. And I have taken a lot of snaps with this Note 3. And you can check out my camera review video, in which I'll show you all these snaps and the videos that I took with the Note 3. So in terms of the camera performance, I would say the performance is very good and you'll be happy with the Note 3. The camera is very good, and also it can take slow motion videos. Coming to the front facing camera, is a 2 megapixel shooter, and I tested it with Skype video calls and Hangouts also, and I would say it does a decent job. It's not the best. I would say the LG G2's front facing camera was slightly better compared to the Note 3's front facing camera. But again, it's above average, so you won't have any problems. Now coming to one con that I have, and this is specific to this Exynos version because it's having the Mali 628 GPU. I've already made a gaming review with this Note 3 about 20 days back, and I was hoping that in some of the high-end games, for example, this Asphalt 8, I was not able to set the graphic levels too high, and now it's been almost a month and still the developers haven't patched it. So it looks like some of the high-end games will have issues with this Note 3, specifically the Exynos version, because it's having the Mali 628 GPU. If you have the Snapdragon version, which has the Adreno 330 GPU, that is fabulous for gaming. For example, the Nova 3 is crashing on this Exynos version, and also, as I said, Asphalt 8 is having issues. You can't set the graphic levels too high. I've already made an in-depth review regarding the gaming performance of this Note 3, so you can check out that video for more info. And let me also show you the default keyboard that we get for, and let's type in a new message. This is the default keyboard you get, and we do get a dedicated number row on this, which I really appreciate because we do have ample space. And as I said, with two finger, this texting is very easy. There's a test for the Note 3, and you do get this predictive text, so it's very easy to type, and it also works in this landscape orientation. So in texting, I didn't have any issues with the Note 3. Another thing is that you can also use the S Pen for writing down notes and for text recognition, and that also works pretty well. In terms of benchmarks, I'm not too keen about benchmarks because these days many of these manufacturers are gaming the benchmarks. But I would say also in terms of benchmarks, I got some of the top scores with this Note 3. So it's a very capable phone and among the most powerful Android phones as of now. Now coming to the heat, this was an issue with the Exynos version of the Samsung Galaxy S4. I'm happy to say that the Note 3 actually uses a different Exynos processor. It's not the same one that is used by the Galaxy S4. And yes, it does get a little bit warm over here when you do some high-end gaming, but it does not get as hot as the Galaxy S4. So in terms of heating, I didn't have any issues with this phone, and also the battery life is excellent on the Note 3, as I mentioned earlier. Coming to the speaker is located over here at the bottom, and I would say it's not as loud as the Note 2, and also it sounds a little bit teeny and shrill. So that's a little bit of a con, I would say. Now coming to some additional functionality, we do also have all the sensors that we found on the S4, and we also have the S Health application, using which it can track the number of steps that you have taken. We also have this comfort level option, where it sends the temperature in the room and the humidity. It has all the sensors, temperature, barometer sensors. So it's a fully spec phone, and you do have all these options like S Health, etc., which I found to be interesting, and I used that a lot when I had the S4. So it's nice to see that we also have that on the Note 3. Another application that we have is, let me unlock, and I have a widget, and as you can see, this is the IR Blaster, using which I can control my television directly from the lock screen. I can do it directly from here. For example, I've set it to my television and my set-top box, and we have a full-fledged application called Watch On, using which you can easily customize. For example, I've already customized it and it works fine in India also. And as you can see, this is my Tata Sky set-top box and you can easily control that. You can have multiple devices. I've configured it for my television. This is the default layout for my television. I can control the volume, change the channel and source, etc. And this is for my set-top box. I can toggle between them like this and it works brilliantly, I would say. So what do I feel about this Note 3? I would say it's an excellent Android phone, and if you're looking for a large screen size phone, and budget is not an issue because Note 3 Unlocked is pretty expensive. In India, the MRP price is around 49,900, but I've seen in these Note 3 in the stores for around 45 to 46,000. So it's an expensive phone, but if you're looking for the best large screen size phone experience, and the added benefit is this S Pen. As I told you, it's difficult to take out. Have a serious look at this Note 3. The performance is excellent. I've been using this phone now for almost 30 days. I did not face any major issues with this Note 3. So overall performance is also excellent with this Note 3. And one more thing that they have improved is now with the S Pen, now you can navigate the menu and the back buttons with this S Pen. This was not possible with the Note 1 and the Note 2. Now coming to one con with this Note 3 is that some versions of the Note 3, specifically the Snapdragon version, and if you have purchased it from, let's say, US or European countries, are region locked. So if you're a person who travels frequently to different countries, then using regional SIMs might be an issue with the Note 3. Another con, and this is specific to the Exynos version that is having the Mali 628 GPU, is that, as I've mentioned earlier, some of the heavy end games are simply not fully optimized for this Mali 628 GPU. Hence, you don't get the full performance. So if you are buying this Note 3 specifically for just gaming, I would suggest that stay away from the Exynos version. It has issues with some of the high-end games. So apart from that, I would say the Note 3 is an excellent Android phone and it has a lot of functionality, and as you have seen, Samsung has loaded this Note 3 with tons and tons of options, and also it can do great multitasking. It's a very fast phone. So overall, I would say Note 3 is among one of the best Android smartphones for 2013, and certainly I would say Note 3 has to be one of the best Android phones produced by Samsung. So if you found this video review helpful, I'll appreciate if you can click the like button and also share this video with friends who are looking for an in-depth review regarding the Note 3. Thank you for watching this video. I know it's a long one. This is Ranjit and I hope to see you in my next video.